I'm declining assent to the bill due to the following reasons. A. Section 22 of the bill accords the authority to consent to the disposal of land to the governor and not the president, as ought to be the case in respect of land belonging to a federal government entity in the case of universities. 2. The word status is spelled as status in items 13 and 15 under arrangement of sections. 3. Prepositions of is omitted between the word award and degree in section 25(4) sub B, and the phrase 1/3 is spelled as 1/3 in Article 4, subsection 3 of the third schedule to the bill.
National Assembly correspondent Mitari Pen reports that the Senate and House of Representatives observed a minute's silence in a joint plenary in honor of late House Deputy Chief Whip Adeomi Onanuga from Ogun State. She was
creative, innovative, courageous, capable, and unbowed.
We will miss her not only in Parliament, not only in her constituency.
And unbowed.
We will miss her not only in Parliament, not only in her constituency, but also all the females.
Still from the National Assembly, following assent of President Bola Tinubu to bills establishing development commissions for regions in the country, the Senate has appointed chairman and deputy chairman of standing committees to oversight the commissions. National Assembly correspondent Lamiari reports that the Senate also reshuffled leadership of some committees.
The new chairman
and their leadership establishment of the committees was sequel to assents to related legislations by the President. The new committees are for the Northwest Development Commission with Senator Babangida Hussaini as chairman, while the committee for the North Central Development Commission has Senator Titus Sam, a Senate Committee on National Population. The Committee on Local Content and that of Diaspora has commended President Tinubu for his assent to the bill establishing Federal Polytechnic in Rano, Kano State.
The establishment of Federal Polytechnic Rano is not just a victory for our community or our zone or our senatorial Nigeria at large.
Meanwhile, Senate Committee on Public Accounts has threatened to issue warrants of arrest on heads of some agencies of government for failure to respond to summons.
Central Bank still charges Consolidated Revenue Funds account with 650 billion naira. To interact, interface with Central Bank to know how and why hasn't been possible. More than 8 invitations have been extended to the chairman of Federal Inland Revenue Service. Nigerian Communications Satellite Limited has been invited over 9 times. Nigerian Police Force has never appeared before this committee, despite all communications. FCT Internal Revenue Service, Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, and quite a number of them.
From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
And talking health, Nigeria joins other countries across the globe to mark this year's World Cancer Day with determination to tackle cancer through inclusivity, but more responsive.
Cancer remains the leading cause of death worldwide, claiming about 8.2 million lives every year. Yet, experts say 1/3 of these deaths could be prevented. Many cancers, when detected early, are treatable and even curable.
We should not focus just on treating the disease, but we should adopt perspective and experience of individuals, carers, families, and communities as participants.
I also want to call the attention, the federal government of Nigeria, to the fact that the burden of cancer size is increasing in the country. Particularly some cancers that we have neglected over the years, specifically colorectal cancer.
Sequel to the approval of Mr. President, we have finalized plans to establish and upgrade 6 federal teaching hospitals with new radiotherapy and nuclear medicine facilities across the country.
But beyond medical screening, simple lifestyle changes, quitting tobacco, cutting down on alcohol, eating healthier, and staying active can drastically reduce the chances of developing cancer. Cancer, experts say, is a disease of public health importance. Hence the theme for this year's celebration, United by Unique, highlighting the need to personalize cancer care and treatments. It also marks the beginning of a 3-year campaign, starting from 2025 to 2027. Basti Taipan, NTA News.
And with me in the studio to speak more on World Cancer Day is the Minister of State for Health, Dr. Ishaq Salako. You're welcome to the Network News.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
All right, taking a look at the theme, United by Unique means shifting from one-size-fits-all treatment to personalized care. What necessitated this approach?
The theme for this year's cancer war in their lives. As an example, we have introduced the Cancer Health Fund, and the Cancer Health Fund is able to help patients who are diagnosed of some specific cancers to be able to access some sort of support from government, to be able to access care, access diagnostic measures, and to also access monitoring measures. Beyond that, government has also introduced a more sustainable method through the Catastrophic Health Fund, using the instrumentality of the National Health Insurance Agency, so that cancer can become an insured ailment in our country, and people who have cancers can have access to some sort of cancer, some sort of insurance, health insurance, to support the treatment, the diagnosis, the monitoring of cancer. So through these models, we have been able to at least reduce the burden. And of course, I must say that in 2025, there's already a plan to increase the amount of fund that is available within the Cancer Health Fund, and also to expand the scope of the fund through increasing facilities where they are available and the kind of cancers that we can use to the fund to treat.
All right, many thanks, the Minister of State Health, Dr. Ishaq Salako, for your input. And, some of these projects you read out these nights are indeed commendable, courtesy of the federal government. Many thanks for your input.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
Away from health, every individual, regardless of socioeconomic status, deserves the opportunity to live. This World Cancer Day. She notes that cancer is a burden on millions of individuals and families around the globe, and as such demands collective responsibility to combat, especially in Nigeria, where it is a leading cause. She urges Nigerians to prioritize their health and support another in the collective fight against cancer. You're watching the Network News. More reports when we return.
Candidates. UTME registration starts February 3rd and ends March 8, 2025. Create a profile using your unique phone number. Simply SMS NIN and your NIN number to either 55019 or 66019. Only candidates who will be 16 years old by 30th September 2025 are eligible. Younger aspirants must have to be declared by JAMB as exceptional, only with scores of 80% in all the 4 prescribed examinations, or take ordinary trial mock examination. Consolidated total payment for registration, CBT center, commission and bank charges are as follows. Trial testing mock only 3,500. DE registration only 5,700. UTME registration only 7,200. UTME and mock registration 8,700. Once you have registered with the biodata supplied by NIMC, no retroactive data change will be allowed nor affected by JAMB. You can, however, use the query option to obtain NIMC updated data to amend your previous personal data with JAMB.
JAMB, enhancing academic excellence.
Everybody has got the right. No shaking, no wahala, we there for you. Don't let power, you got the right to enjoy value for money. We are FCCPC, for your consumer rights 24/7. FCCPC, we are right by your side. Oh yeah. Oh, no shake, I'm here with you for a better Naija.
FCCPC, promoting choice, ensuring fairness.
Ready for school? Yes. Out more miles of motorable highways, despite the bumps. More miles of motorable highways, despite the bumps and breakers. This notwithstanding hundreds of miles of critical roads. Sinking key sectors of the economy, begging for attention. Salt on the wound, the budget for the ministry. Just a drop in the ocean. As far as the bill of the ministry is concerned. The condition of some of the roads, booby traps of salt, lubricants to the evil wills of road crashes, especially those involved in trucks carrying thousands of liters of fuel. Within the past weeks, mishaps that destroyed properties worth millions and hundreds of lives. Some pointing fingers at bad roads. In Abuja, Abdullah Muhammad, NTA News.
And joining me in the studio to throw more lights on road intervention is the chairman, Senate Committee on Northwest Development Commission, Senator Babangida Hussaini. You're welcome to the Network News.
Thank you for having me.
For this administration, how has this passion translated in terms of funding?
Well, thank you very much once again. I think one of the most critical. One of the most critical component of the road issues in Nigeria is around funding. I believe much has been done in terms of creating additional funding windows apart from the budget. You have the SCOOC, you have the Presidential Intervention Funding, you have also the multilateral loans financing some critical roads. But the truth is, having regard to the volume of the maintenance issues on the road and also the need to open up new roads for economic development, I think more needs to be done. Creating new funding window development, I think more needs to be done. Creating new funding window options and then getting cheaper funding to finance road construction.
All right, distinguished, having headed the Senate Committee on FEMA and being a former permanent secretary of the Ministry of Works, what are the alternatives or options on how to achieve good road network across Nigeria?
Well, beside increasing and improving the funding from the annual budget, I think one very important area is the involvement of the private sector. I remember 3-4 years back, the Highway Development Management Initiative was introduced, and 12 roads were to be offtaken by concessionaires who will be responsible for managing them, financing and maintaining the roads. I think that's the way to go. And I think one other area that we should also be looking at is expanding the SUKUK funding options. It's a cheaper funding opportunity, and I think in 2019...
Funding. How can the nation leverage on available resources abound nationwide to equally achieve this feat?
Well, one very important issue that perhaps I need to stress here is the issue of synergy between all the key players in the infrastructure sector. You have Research Institute, FEMA, and all other agencies have to come together to bring cheaper and easier options of road construction and road management. In other climes, you see they have created newer and cheaper ways of maintaining their roads and also bringing about a kind of new and easier alternatives to road construction. But here, I think looking at the...
And away from that, the federal government has formally commenced collection of toll fees on the Abuja-Keffi for commercial vehicles and free passage for motorbikes and bicycles. Abdullah Mohammed reports.
Moments before the toll fees collection, the free, smooth rides are over. 20 years ago was the last time motorists paid toll across federal roads.
One of the problems that we're having with passengers is we hope the transport fare will not increase.
And the motorists are ready to pay as long as the resources are plowed back. These tolling will be on for 25 years, with other highways across the country to follow. The renewed hope movement has exemptions and discounts for the less privileged, and the Minister of State Works, Muhammad Bello Goroyo, says it's a soft landing, expected to turn to a relief.
50% to some categories of road users and almost 100% to other categories of road users, because the renewed hope agenda is about putting smiles on the faces of Nigerians.
The 227.2 kilometer Abuja-Keffi Abuja-Lafayette Federal Highway is not just a stretch of road. It is a conduit of prosperity, a bridge between communities, and a lifeline of national unity.
One of the host states takes the Oliver Twist stand.
Now, if you have to go to Nasarawa from Lafayette, you have to pass through Keffi to go to Nasarawa, and that takes you about 3 to 4 hours. Now, this road that links from Doma to Nasarawa takes us about 30 minutes. So within 30 minutes, you've connected 3-4 local governments if that road is constructed.
The 227.2 kilometers highway was delivered within 4 years, and this highway is no doubt a gateway.
I will now take you back to our earlier report on the Wahab is standing by.
A second consecutive meeting of the top policy-making body in the country in 2 days. Picking up from where they left off, on Monday, the council members clearly still had a lot more on the apparently would spare no time to further inject more life into the national economy. After deliberations, Information and National Orientation Minister yet again with his colleagues to brief newsmen, acting on the recommendation of its agency in production of pharmaceuticals on the continent.
Is to enhance the capacity of all state parties that have ratified it, to improve their regulatory capacities regarding medical products, to increase access to safe, quality-assured, efficacious medical products, and use common standards across the continent towards a Pan-African regulatory framework for medicines, medical products, and pharmaceuticals.
The ministry equally secured approval to expand infrastructure and equip facilities in 6 tertiary institutions across the country, put at 12 billion naira. Meanwhile, the council has directed the debt managed clear backlog of pension payments.
And that is to clear up the backlog of pension liabilities owed various categories of pensioners who are owed funds under the military pension scheme that came into force in 2004 and of course was updated with a new act in 2014.
The council also announced a €30 million long-term concession of financing from a French development agency for the provision of clean energy-based student housing across the country.
The government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is listening to the public and ensuring that the economy comes back to life once again. And the reforms are working. The economy is actually beginning to turn the corner. And this year,
Lady Oluremi Tinubu has donated 100 million naira to victims of recent disasters in Niger State. She announced the donation at the State Government House on the sideline of her private visits to two.
Accompanied by wife of the Vice President Nana Shitima, Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu is in Minna, the Niger State capital, on a private visit First, to the hilltop residence of former head of state, General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida. Their visit, according to the First Lady, is to check on the well-being of the 83-year-old former leader. The duo later held a closed-door meeting.
How are you? Welcome. How are you?
The First Lady paid similar visit to the home of General Abdusalami Abubakar, where she applauded the former military head of state for his unwavering support to the current administration.
It's been a lot for us trying to juggle and, stabilize the government to an extent, because with subsidy removal, people were getting a lot agitated. Daddy, on the other hand, has always encouraged Mr. President. So it's right for me to come here and to greet them, because they are the fathers of our nation, the patriarchs of this great nation. It's good for us to pay our respect.
For what she has doing and will continue to do, especially for the young children, the motherless, and the orphans. She has done very well during her second year in office. She has done the fabric, Nigerian fabric, and she has done a lot of things,
At the government house, Mina, where she extended her condolences to the state governor, Omar Bago, the First Lady announced a donation of 100 million naira through the Renewed Hope initiative to victims of recent disasters in the state.
So we are looking at under 70 families, like I reviewed with you. We decided each family...
The First Lady is back in Abuja. Adeni Itaiwo, NTA News.
Another break back.
Abuja, get ready to celebrate greatness. On February 5th, 2025,